Good evening and welcome to the end of the year town board meeting for the town of Tustin. Call the meeting to order and the pledge to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Crystal, that was fun.
Kids, they get into their head.
Our payments of bills for the end of the year generally expended $37,206.78. Highway $30,463.25. Water $10,312. Sewer $7,982.87. The capital water of $39,161. For a total of $125,126.10. Greg and Kevin, I believe, checked the bills. Any questions, discrepancies? A motion to accept the bills as presented and authorize payment? So moved. I have a motion, a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Number two, the end of the year business for budget 2.1 budget modifications. We received $275,564.67 in chips. We budgeted only $120,000. So a motion to approve the highway amended budget as presented in number 2.1.
So moved.
A second?
I'll second.
Further discussion on
And what do we owe this large ad?
Don and I always usually 120 was what it always was. As the state finds more money, they give us more money,
All right.
but we never tend to budget based on the previous years that we had gotten, only because when they don't give us the money, then we're scrambling.
Right.
So
Okay.
that was the reason for that.
So was this our budget? Budgeting conservative, it wasn't correct.
And it doesn't have to be spent in the same year?
It gets spent on the, what's allowed, which is
Right.
basically materials and improvements. It's all spent,
It does.
but he just uses it towards other projects that he's working on. But we're not spending it's allowing us to put more money in reserve. It'd be the quick answer to that. 2.2 is budget transfers, in the general fund. And if anybody's got questions on them, because I did not put down what the,
Yeah.
like the 1110.12 to 1320.4 are. So we, like for the first one, we increased 1110.2, which is the court. We increased it by $465 and we decreased the independent audit in accounting by that $465. I'll pick a couple of the larger ones. Questions on them?
Like 1910.4.
1910.4 is I used to know these on the top of my head. It's unallocated insurance.
Unallocated what?
Insurance.
I don't know what that.
That is the insurance we pay through the county, I believe. It's the workers' comp insurance. It's not the NIME insurance.
Uh-huh. Why is it unallocated?
I think that's just the way the budgeting is considered for each of these numbers, these A's,
Yeah.
SWs, they
Right.
come from the state.
Okay, right.
They give us their accounting codes.
Right.
And that particular one is put under unallocated insurance.
I
based out of the county.
Okay. I got you.
So and 7310 is the youth program. We increased that because they got more money. We're not, that's why you're not seeing a decrease on the other side. So some of those, they either applied for grants and got more money. donations.
What about A 6989.5 for the 18946?
Being grant, they're called.
69, 69, the
Open spaces?
Fish and Wildlife, right?
Which one? That's it.
And that came from the Fish and Wildlife end of it. That's why you don't see a decrease in there. 1910.4 would be one we would look at. And so other than unallocated insurance, all the rest were relatively close to the general fund.
Okay,
The highway fund. Oh, 11, 12.
For that. On item 11.2 corresponds to the one on the decrease side.
That is correct. It came out of the one highway fund and it was, they decreased the other highway fund. So the
Okay.
DA, I think that would happen.
Do you want me to tell you what they are? Cause I know.
If you know them off the top of your head. Yeah, no, that's good, because I'm just looking them up.
The general fund looks a little bit different than the highway because there were so many. So literally in Excel, what I did is any budget lines that were over, that's what you see, they needed to be increased, right? So the first one was justice court, and it needed to be increased by $400. So then I put all those increases down, and then on the opposite side are the decreases. Like the first one was assessors, which we had almost 12,000 left. So we used all of that, and they just start to balance each other out as you go down. So it wasn't such a clear cut, this one came out of this one, and this balanced this one. It was just left and right it until we equal our budget out. Because there weren't so many for highway and water and sewer, it's a little bit more clear cut. So on the highway one, the one is chips, that's 42,000, because Ben budgeted 120 for chips, we got a lot more back. But Don never knows how much is coming back, so he has to spend it to get it back. So he spent 317,000. We needed that road stuff anyway, but he applied it to chips. We got back 275. So what that means is we got more in the budget, which was great, but we still spent more out of the chips line. So that's why I had to do this budget run. So it's a little bit easier to see the back and forth there. The next line is capital. And that was, I think maybe we got a tractor or something like that, which was more than they had budgeted. So that's why that's a higher number. So it's just kind of a left and right, and I just put in there with whatever he has left, and eventually it balances out.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
And our decreases are from those budget lines that were still under budget.
right. Some budget lines, which is nice, budget lines.
And some of them, I believe like in the water fund, some of the money came out of ARPA. Or no, I'm sorry, not this year,
Not this year. that was last
23.
year.
Any other questions on any of the increases and decreases? And with the water and the sewer fund, increases and decreases, those are what we looked at this year in the budget with Craig. To find out how they wanted to adjust their budget. Being that district, particularly that district doesn't have as many things to draw from as far as when they're doing their budget. So if there's no further discussion yet on that, go ahead.
I'm sorry, one question on the general fund, well, under capital water, 39,000, what is that for?
Capital,
Is that,
That was Delaware Engineering. We have Delaware Engineering,
okay,
which we built this one.
okay,
which those are being actually paid out of the reimbursed grant money that we got.
right, okay. Thank you.
A motion to affect the budget transfers as presented in 2.2.
I'll make that motion.
And a second,
I'll second.
do we have further discussion on them? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 2.3, advertise of highway sand and stone bid. A motion to authorize the town clerk's office to advertise a request for highway sand and stone 2025 bids. Return by 3 P.M. on the 9th of February and open Tuesday, February 10th at the regular board meeting at 6:30. And that was through Don, and those are his requested times to get them. So I would make the motion.
I'll second.
Further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed. 2.4 is to advertise the Narrowsburg Sewer Department septic pumping and filter sand removal, I believe that is. To advertise a request for the Narrowsburg Sewer septic pumping and sewer filter needs for 2025. And I believe we had talked about opening them also on the April meeting. To be received by 3 P.M. on the date of the April meeting and opened that evening.
April 8th.
8th is the date of the meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
For the board meeting.
Do we want them opened at 3 o'clock when Craig can take a look at them and give us a recommendation at the board meeting?
We can, unless you want to have them back the month previous and then awarded in April.
Have them back in March? Okay, that sounds good. So we'll advertise for the septic pumping and sewer sand to be returned at the March meeting and opened.
Mhm.
And then we can set the award for the April meeting. Further discussion on that?
What are the parameters for that? You know?
As a bid, it'll be, the sand will come in as a per cubic yard price.
Yeah, more the.
And the pumping will be a per gallon charge.
But the lawn and grounds maintenance,
Oh, we haven't got to that one yet.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I got lots of questions on that one anyway. I make a motion to advertise for the sewer department and septic pumping and filter sand.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor? Aye, opposed. 2.5 is our lawn and grounds maintenance. That is our mowing bid.
yeah,
It's just strictly the mowing bid. I don't think we're gonna have
okay,
anything for maintenance at this point yet.
okay,
That's something I think we're gonna discuss at the January meeting.
okay,
Last year, Krista reminded me, we put this out for an April return and we got 0 returns, so we did it into May, so I think that's a good recommendation that we put it out now for May. And then, Greg, if you've got some time, I would like to just go over it before she publishes it to make sure we hit all the spots.
You mean you want to put it out to receive back in April? In case we don't get it back by April, we can put it out again, hopefully by May.
Well, I think what we're gonna do this time, like we discussed, is put it in the paper several times.
Okay,
Um,
you want to give till May?
I'd like to, the problem is if we get nobody, then
Yeah.
we're done.
Right.
So we'll do it for April,
Okay.
but we'll do, the River Reporter at least once or twice a month, and we'll do the Democrat for at least 3 times a month.
Okay,
That ought to eat most of our advertising budget up.
yeah,
But unfortunately with that, the problem is if we don't get anything, then we're way behind the 8 ball.
okay, river report will do 3. Okay,
So the motion would be to authorize the clerk's office to advertise the lawn grounds maintenance for 2025 to be received by the April meeting and opened at the April meeting and awarded no later than the May meeting. So we could award it that evening if we,
Need a motion? I'll move that.
okay, I will second it. All in favor? Aye, opposed? The expenditure of highway monies, this is the agreement that the town board makes with the highway superintendent. What roads he's going to improve for the coming year. He's got a sum of $264,000 set aside for the repairs of the 62 miles, and he's got permanent improvements in number 2. And he's got an A and a B, Lackawaxen for 1.3 and Ridge Road for 0.94. And Kevin, this is what I discussed earlier. It's based on his $120,000. When more money comes in, then he can do more than this, but he's obligated to do a minimum of this.
Okay.
By the agreement with the town board.
How are these projects chosen? How are these two prioritized?
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that it is part of a rotation that they do. And the amount of traffic that's on those roads. I know Lackawaxen Road this year took a little bit of a hit with the storms, so that he had done some patching on it, and I believe it's almost 15 years since that's been paved, so. And the other thing with CHIPS money is they've increased the amount of time from when you can pave it, so you can pave it this year. But then there's X number of years before you can use that money on that same road. So that's part of the formula that we do it. Lake Ridge and Perry Pond, I'm not sure when they were last done. I know they just did Bear Run and Brook Road there. Any other discussion on the expenditure of highway monies? If not, a motion to accept the expenditure of highway monies agreement with the town of Tustin Highway Superintendent. I would make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Everybody gets to sign that. The motion authorized the supervisor to sign the agreement with Sullivan County Division of Solid Waste for 2025 renewal. This is the tipping fees that we agreed to, and it's the monies that are used in the spring and fall cleanup, if we've got the time or the money's left over. I would make that motion also.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Designate the use of the ARPA funds, remaining funds. What's that? What to do?
Nothing, I didn't.
Oh. We had in the budget $80,000 of ARPA funds. We've used a little bit of that, so we've actually got $73,791 available. The part that we used previous, that brought us underneath that was half of the Olson bill for in here. We've got another Olson bill coming, and that's what gives us that $73,791. I know Greg had sent some stuff about the deck.
We can, just to bring everyone up to speed, the surface of the deck, the wood is not as resilient being near the river as we thought, so we are having issues. There has already been some buckling and breakage. And the people we have spoken with tell us we can anticipate that speeding up, that process is going to quicken. Tom Quachi was kind enough to give us a budget for labor and composite material called Veranda, which is one of the more affordable Home Depot brands of that material. And it seems that we can get that done for just under 14,000, including demolition, materials and labor. So.
Would the board like to see some of that money go towards the refurbishment of the deck at Main Street?
Definitely.
I think it's something that potentially everyone benefits from, so I think,
So we want to put a specific number on it or not to exceed number?
I think not to exceed.
I would go with not to exceed. I would pick like $19,900 because that keeps it under the bid process and it allows us to go for quotes on things.
What happens to that? Let's say $5,000 is left over. Do we?
We could use that in any of the other ARPA spots. We'll have not to exceeds on the other stuff, but that way it'll, as long as we know where we're at. All right, so. Other uses?
Well, we talked about the remediation of humidity in the storage room. I know Jane got a quote that was pretty high.
Yeah, hers was up just shy of 20,000 and you felt we could do better than that. We did, in 23, we used $18,000 for the water department towards their generator back then. I don't know if there was some discussion about trying to use some of the money.
We have talked about, the 40 of it, the new generator would cost $40,000.
Right,
And that's the one for the sewer department.
which would get it out of their lunchroom.
Yeah.
And I think it would,
Would free up a lot of office space.
it would be propane, right? So,
I believe that
yeah,
that's.
so it would change its fuel. It would be an improvement. Big time.
So. Is the thought that we'd go the whole 40 on it, or would we do like we do with the water department and put 20 towards it? And that would utilize, you'd have roughly. $35,000 left.
If we did
If you did 20, you would leave you $35,000 that we could then talk about this building. And if there's anything else that,
if the playground equipment,
Yeah, I tend to think that given that we already have some projects that, and the deck is also a public space, that, playground equipment, we might even be able to do fundraising for, or something like that.
or within our own budget.
Right.
Because the pavilion came out of, down there, the pavilion came out of the ARPA money.
So, so I'm,
yeah, no.
yeah.
Fine.
Seeing as we are already giving some of it to public spaces, I would like to see at least 20,000 go towards that generator, just because there are going
Yeah.
to be so many demands on special system.
Do you want to utilize the other 33 for this building?
Yeah, because we need to do something with the floor and
The
stuff
floor.
like
But we're getting, we're getting water in that corner on this side and by the, stove. Meter. Over here.
Yeah, I think this,
Yep.
this space.
Okay,
I do think that it would be wise for the building committee to start meeting regularly to discuss the project, prioritize them, and kind of take a substantive look at that report we got on the entire building. I feel as though that's been a little stalled. And it would be nice to prioritize and make some concrete decisions about those things.
What about that door?
Yeah.
Hate to mention it, but
What about the public? That means one of the big things.
that.
I think that's a good idea. Do we want to put a third person on the building committee and hold public meetings?
I think the public is likely to have opinions, so.
Okay, because we will appoint or reappoint the building committee at the regular
Yeah.
meeting. Are you looking to abandon ship on that?
Oh, no, I think.
No, that's fine. So you and I were on it before.
Right,
Um,
so if we put somebody else on it, it'll
I'm thinking maybe we need a PR guy.
work on.
I'd be interested in that kind of work. It's just, which committee I am freed from.
None. You're the park committee forever. But we can discuss that, but yes, I think that's probably the best thing, because I think if the public sees how much money this building is gonna really take, maybe in the future, they're gonna be looking at some sort of an alternate idea.
It's good for people to be informed on their way to opinion, though.
Okay, I don't believe that we need a resolution for that. I think I just need to, correct, Kelly, we just need to be able to put forth to the.
Yes, I just have to know next week I have to go on to the Treasury's website and dedicate. I don't have to claim things until April for this last year, but I have to dedicate or release the funding.
Yeah, what is the turning into a pumpkin day for this money?
The end next week, to do it next week.
Yeah, to be allocated, but when does it have to be spent?
Oh, that I don't know. We have next year to at least.
Okay.
I believe 25, the
Yeah.
end of 25.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I think too, but I'll find out for sure.
How much money is in, reserve for the sewer?
I wanna say like 400.
400, okay,
Sewers are very decent.
okay. So the other half of the generating might be able to come out of the reserve?
I think we budgeted in there. If I'm not mistaken, I thought we budgeted. I-
Technically, to pull out of reserve, we would have to.
Yeah, reserves are hard to take out of. They require a public hearing and a waiting of 30 days for permissive projects, anything like that. That's why the accountants and the attorneys try to tell you not to set up accounts in a certain way, but you've got no flexibility to use them. But I don't think anybody's gonna have an issue using reserve funds for a sewer department as opposed to raising taxes. Do we have any other business that we have forgotten?
Oh, I'll bring it to the next meeting, just, I don't know if you saw, I made that little poster for Little Lake Erie.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I'll bring it to the January meeting. I don't wanna put up a sign welcoming people to skate before it's froze. Go ahead, dude.
No.
It's our slush fund.
On the hearing.
Huh? I mean, it's just a poster that says it's great to skate on Little Lake Erie. There used to be a no sign. It was kind of weird. And this just says it's great to skate and, ATVs and, snowmobiles prohibited, and that's it. But it's great to skate on Little Lake Erie. I was gonna say, when winter gets cold and dreary, it's great to skate on Little Lake Erie, but that's too much. All right, we'll work on it.
Children love a long sign.
Anything else from the board? Anything from public comment? I don't think we have anybody on. Public comment? Oh. Okay, board comment.
I just want to repeat what I said yesterday when we met with, the water department, that, Craig has really stepped up, and it's been a good thing to see over the last 2 years. He's really, and, he's gonna be taking, he's really taking charge now, and I think that's great, and and also the well 2 going online was really his leadership. So a lot of times with the water, there's a lot of things that are not in our control. When that tower gets built, and everything, but these were 2 things that were in our control, human resources and getting that well 2 online, and we did it. So whatever. I mean, I'm just saying, those are good things, and end of the year kind of.
And that'll be good for the first of the year meeting and the report too is online so that people know.
Right, okay,
And the testing, that
right.
was a good thing.
And Dave Bunce has been wonderful, and I will not be at the water meeting, I will be out.
Okay.
And the park and public spaces meeting has been moved to January 13th for the month of January.
Any other board comment? We ran out of time. Motion to adjourn.
I'll make that.
I'll make that motion. Merry Christmas, everybody.
On paper, aye.
Ah.
All right.